All right, folks, a little step in the past back on that. Talk about the days of psychedelics. Exactly. That was 13th floor elevators. I love the house. You get a chance, I put the link in there in the chat and check it out. Listen to the lyrics. It is groovy, man. So, what's up, everybody? As I get all the necessary things here. There, that's in sync. That's in sync. Everything is in sync. So we're in sync. How are you, folks? Favor be unto us all. Nothing missing, nothing broken. How is it in everybody's world? I hope you're doing well. John Price from Abilene, Texas. Yes, Abilene. Yep. I'll tell you, if you're from Texas, Austin, particularly back in the day, you know who the 13th floor elevators actually really are. And they are far out. Guy, anyway, I digress. So, how are you? Yes, I know. Everything's being recorded in the world. So, hope you had a good, strong weekend and that you were doing what you enjoyed. I mean, uh, as I have contended, and I am going to get more into it, did a lot of deep thinking and researching and reading. I don't know. I'm becoming more and more convinced none of us are actually alive. In other words, I know we're here, but I don't believe that we were ever born into the realm of the living. I believe that there is overwhelming evidence that this is the realm of the dead. And anyway, we'll get more into that later on this week. Yeah, I talked to my wife on this, and I love my wife because she is just a great sounding board. And she was a 100% skeptic. I think she said she's 95% convinced. Yeah. I don't believe that what we have been taught in religion, philosophy, um, I just don't think it's what it's supposed to be. Anyway, let's move right on along. Happy birthday if you got one. And there's so many people in here. So good to see all of you. Hello, all the moderators. Thomas and Mo Archer, good to see you. Is that why they don't listen to us? By the way, I saw you, Jenny, stopped in on your show this morning and saw you over the weekend. Jenny was in the protest that, according to the U.S. media, never happened. But she was there, and there's nothing better than civil disobedience. That is one of the few things that we got. So, right arm, Jenny, get out there. Enough of these lockdowns that are just arbitrary. So I'm going to say that. Hey, Gaia, what's up? Kent Cook, good to see you. Robert V is in the house. Watched your show, Robert, over the weekend. I think it's this Saturday. The Brian Barnett, excuse me, kind of just celebrating his, actually, what I'm becoming more convinced of, actually got born into the realm of the living. But that's just my take. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Got Miss Trina coming on with a second look. Going to have a lively discussion there, and got some guests coming on. Got Barbara DeLong coming back on. Haven't seen Barbara in years. Going to be great to see her. Got Judith from Midnight Radio. We're going to have her back on. David is coming back on. So, yeah, it's the place to be. If you got an hour, this is a place that where your hour is going to be an exceptionally good ROI for you. ROI stands for return on investment. Anyway, there you go. What else is going on? Oh, so speaking of David Barry, let me pull this up. And David has set up a store. I've left the link below. And let me get over here. And there is the DB75, David Barry 75, Soul Tribe Productions. I guess that one may have sold out. More products. You got shirts, you've got totes, you've got just an array of things that are so cool. I got to find the teddy bear. Where is the teddy bear? Is that no longer available, David? Mugs, be ordering some of that. Love the hoodies. The teddy bear was cute. I just got to see. David, maybe you can tell us what happened on that one. But this is cool, folks. This is really cool gear. I know that many of our soul tribes, like Nina, Nina has the Anaconda wearables, but everybody has their store, but I really like this one. It's really cool. I am Soul Tribe. David, love it. You know, between David Barry, Al's creative genius on the playing cards, the Soul Deck cards, Soul Tribe cards, it's just phenomenal. I mean, so the link is here. Check it out. I think it is cool as can be. I love the caps as well. So we now can get the gear, folks. That's all I got to say. Get the gear. Pretty good stuff. Like the aprons too. Ordering one of these, David, as well. I think that is just so cool. Let's see here. There's for the ladies. And there's for us guys. Love it. David, love it. This is an opportunity to, I think, really share in the happiness, because it is happiness. I love seeing this. This is what it's all about. So high five to you, David Barry. Love it, brother. So there you go. And if you've got stuff, send it to me. We'll put it up here and let people know. And so anyway, Emperor Rex, how are you doing? Scotty Boy, saw you earlier. Beloved Abstract. I love the sip all the time. Are those schmucks? Yes, I do believe they're aprons. Yes, indeed. Cool stuff. So we got, I mean, folks, I figured out yesterday, I've got like 2 years of material. If I didn't get anything else, 2 years of material. So we got a lot to discover and think about, and check it out. Hey, Miss Jenny, True Divine 44. How are you doing, my love? Good to see you. Woke Dealer, how are you as well? Twilight Traveler. How about a Soul Tribe versions that say Soul Tribe Wayne Steiger chapter? Hey, yeah, that's an idea. Chapters all over the world. You know, why not? Love the idea. Max Vision remote viewing class. How are you, my friend? Haven't seen you. He has his classes. I think they're on Saturday. Send me a link and I'll put it in there. Dragon Soul Fox, how are you doing, Jules? Good to see you. David Castle, greetings and favor to you, favor to everybody. Think agape love and forever. Forever. Absolutely. Dar Smile, how are you doing? Good to see you, Danielle. Deborah Sloan, hello, hello, hello. So, bum. Hey, for all you folks on the West Coast, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. We got like 3.2 inches of rain from Friday to Saturday. I mean, downpours. And I'm hearing it. I'm still focusing in on the rain. We're going to break that heat wave out there, but holy schmolies. Nina, I don't know what y'all are going to do up there. I hear Seattle 112 degrees today. What the heck is going on? Damn, that's a little hot. I mean, my tootsies couldn't take that kind of heat, as they would say. Yeah, it is important that we gather like this. I agree. Warmed up my cheek. That's so. So hey, listen, just grin it and bear it. Nudity is fun. I'm just telling you, it's how we come into this world. Although it's clear that, you know, we don't die naked, and it's very clear that in the land of the living, where we're all going, they don't go naked over there either. What's up with that? I mean, I really want to know, why are there not naked spirits? I mean, seriously, they're, I, I mean, what? Is there some cosmic law over there that, nudity not allowed, or, what? I don't know. I still question it. Kid says a hunk of burning love, heat wave. There you go. Absolutely. But I'm just saying, I happen to think that the human body and its design and engineering is phenomenal, uh, and, I know women are just like guys. I mean, you're proud of your body, you got certain assets, why are they covered up over there? I mean, what, are we still in this? Anyway, I digress. You see, keep on keeping the faith. I love to be nude as well. It's it's my wife's life. Well, okay. Hey, it's you. The body is the body. It's just the way it is. I don't know. I mean, growing up for me, there was this nudist camp on the Yuba River outside Yuba City, California, back in the day. And you had to hike in like a mile to get to where this, clothing was optional. And it was the coolest river. I mean, if many of you know where the Yuba River is, uh, just spectacular geological formations there. But anyway, we think a lot of judgments would vanish. Ain't that the truth, Gaia? I mean, seriously, that is the truth. You see, Jenny, I'm right there with you as well. It works. So, all right, get your favorite libation. Let's get into our document today. And folks, I got some really good ones coming up. I mean, yeah. So when I came across this one, I thought, you got to recognize someone who would take the work. And unfortunately, I don't know what happened to this individual. Seems like he did this work. And it's a lot of work. There's just no doubt about it. And then just disappeared. So here we go. And this came out in 2007. And I like the way that this guy did it. And I think it's going to be a fun little journey today. So this is the timeless timelines of the world weirdness. And folks, you got to agree, the world's just, man, I mean, it may have been weird in the past. I don't know, because I don't have any reference of what weirdness was defined as the past. But I know this present, it's freaking weird. So he goes by the Alpha and Omega, the very beginning to the end. All right. So let's see where we're at. So he starts off at 75 million BC. Actually, today, I guess the proper would be CE, right? BCE, before the current event. Yeah, I think that would be correct. So here it says that Xenu ordered the nuking of Earth. This is per Scientology, and we're all respectable of all different beliefs, and they all have a bit of truth in them. Radioactive dust, steel, and geologic strata in the areas of the American Southwest deserts, the African deserts, the Gobi Desert. Geologists can't explain the fused green glass that's in the Sahara that has been found in such sites as the Pilaret and Gabon, the Euphrates Valley, the Sahara Desert, the Gobi Desert, Iraq, the Mojave Desert, Scotland, Old and Middle Kingdom of Egypt, the South Central Turkey. And from the same period, scientists have found a number of uranium deposits that appear to have been mined or depleted in antiquity. Now, this is true. Over in Russia, they found what appears to have been a type of fusion machine. They say it's tens of thousands of years old. They don't know how that could be. But anyway, when the Rashi city of the Mohenjo-daro in Pakistan was evacuated, exactly, now I can't even say it, evacuated by the archaeologists in the last century, they found skeletons just lying in the streets, some of them holding hands, as if some great doom had suddenly overtaken them. These skeletons are among the most radioactive ever found, on a par with those found at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Ancient cities whose brick and stone walls have literally been vitrified, that is, fused together like glass, can be found in India, Ireland, Scotland, France, Turkey, and other places. There is no logical explanation for the vitrification of the stone forts and cities, except from an atomic blast. The Luk-Nor Desert in western China is known to be the center of a great UFO mystery. Scientists drilling down in an I don't know why I cannot say that. It's a very easy word. Come on, Steiger, get with the program. They're excavating near Babylon in Iraq, found various strata containing evidence of different civilizations. They eventually stopped when they hit a solid wall of glass, like the sand had been fused together by a nuclear blast. Date estimates not given. And actually, in all of the myths of all the religions, there's a plethora to choose from. They all have the story of, well, the Abrahamic beliefs have Sodom and Gomorrah. The Hindus have the wars with the gods using nuclear weapons. And you cannot help but not think that they found the radioactive isotopes on Mars that shows that there was a nuclear, not one, but apparently a couple nuclear explosions on Mars. And granted, 75 million years ago, then the next stop is 13 million years ago. I'm sure the earth healed itself, and who knows? Again, we don't know how old we are. Goes to my theory that this is the death zone where we are literally, we're not born into anything. We literally died to get into this realm we call the living. I continue. So, 13 million years ago, the Inca stones of Peru show illustrations of advanced surgery, like heart and brain transplants, cesarean section, and men riding dinosaurs. Dr. Javier Cabrera discovered about 40,000 stone tablets detailing advanced science in the Peruvian desert of Acucay? These were called the Inca stones of Peru. The tablets detail such complex ideas as astronomy, surgery, again, heart and kidney transplants, C-sections, acupuncture, genetic disorders, and more. There were descriptions of vehicles which flew through space without consuming fuel, descriptions of the lines drawn at Nazca, the Nazca lines. They described the evacuation of a large-headed small statued race to a planet which would now be in the Pleiades star cluster. These were found in the Peruvian state of Inca. The city of Inca is only 100 miles from the city of Nazca. Wow. And there is the professor. So 44 100,000 years ago, according to the Apocrypha Book of Enoch, the Nephilim descended on Mount Hermon. Now, I have a book that we're going to cover specifically on the Nephilim. It's the giants. I read today somewhere that they had in China, they have now discovered a large area of giant skeleton bones. 250,000 years ago, Eve, one single hypothetic woman, might be the sole source of the whole of mankind, Homo sapiens. According to recent genetic research, this theory is supported by a number of additional evidences. Now, how many of you have heard this? There was never no Adam, never. Only Eve. And the evidence of this, if you look at the mitochondrial DNA of all of us, it's feminine. And it's the mitochondrial DNA that's really the support structure, the foundation, the piers. Don't know. 30,000 years ago, the first Illuminatus, the broad rules in Atlantis. Are you telling me that the Illuminati been around that long? Some theories say yes. 15,000 years ago, the Taihao, what is that? The height of the Lemurian remnant begins construction. There we go, Lemuria. 12,000 years ago, the Indian country of Rama existed. Remains of their large cities still exist in the deserts of India and Pakistan. Indian texts from this period tell of anti-gravity spaceships called Varamas or Astros, and a war with the Alanians on the moon. Curiously, Soviet scientists have discovered what they call age-old instruments used in navigating cosmic vehicles in caves in Turkestan and in the Gobi Desert. The devices are hemispherical objects of glass or porcelain, ending in a cone with a drop of mercury inside. Some ancient Indian texts describe a war with Atlantis, who flew Valiux machines using flying machines and atomic bombs. Seems like we weren't the first. 11,600 years ago, a great flood engulfed the earth according to Mexica, Nahati mythology and timetable. Circa 11,000 BC. The flood, caused by the slippage of the Antarctic ice sheet into the sea, this was in turn a consequence of the 12th planet called Marduk by the Babylonians. Listen, I didn't write this. We're just keeping an open mind. Now, sounds a lot like the Planet X thing, right? Don't know. 11,000 years ago, the piece of rock blasted off the surface of Mars, carrying signs of biological life that came to be called ALH 84001, crashed in Antarctica. And there it is. Well, I guess the first question is, what caused the rock to be blasted out of the atmosphere of Mars and on a trajectory eventually here to Earth? 10,000 years ago, estimated date of its inscriptions of stone disc by the Drapa tribe, small-bodied, yellow-faced aliens who crash-landed on the Tibetan-China border. Remains discovered in 1938, aligned graves contain skeletons of short, spiny people with large heads. Isn't it interesting? On Friday, they announced the new species called dragon, Homo dragonis, that apparently mated with sapiens, maybe with Neanderthals and whoever's, but here we are discovering another genus of homos. They tried to make friends with the neighboring Ham tribe, but the Hams hunted them down and killed them. An English scientist later visited the area and learned their lore. Descendants of the Dropus still live in the area, and they don't look Mongolian or Chinese. The Dropus came from the star in the Sirius system. The small people of the Dropus were rediscovered in the same mountain in 1995. Earliest estimates date of carvings of the crystal skull found in the Lubatan in the Yucatan. Worldwide floods occur approximately 10,000 years ago. Tiahuanaco partially destroyed, and other cities, including the Atlantean Empire, submerged. And we now know that this is true. I mean, we know we're finding cities now underneath with pyramids and large complexes. And yeah. Okay, so 9 to 10,000 years ago, date of Plato's Atlantis. 9,600 years ago, Plato said the Atlanteans invaded Athens this year and a great war was fought. 8,000 years ago, more evidence exists that the Sphinx was built at this time before the Egyptians. The Mulan culture suddenly appeared approximately 10,000 years ago, along with the Algerian coast, with the largest skeletal population in the entire prehistoric record. In addition, the Mulans also possess the largest cranial capacity of any population the world has ever seen. Approximately 2,000 versus our present okay, so it's 2,000 cc's, cubic centimeters, versus our present 1,400 cubic centimeters. Skeletons found showed they were mostly women and children who worked with tools never before seen and with unknown domesticated animals. History's a bitch, isn't it? Because you just go, well, what? I mean, and then you try to buy all into this, into the modern theology of our cultural attributes today. It don't make sense. All right, 5,900 years ago, the Ubad period predates Samaria, supposedly the first civilization. At the Ubad site in Iraq, a mask was found which looks like it has a high, long forehead. The Anunnaki, excuse me, the first Egyptian pharaoh. Yeah. Let's see, 5,000 years ago, Australian Aborigine mythology tells of foreign visitors. They were painting on caves. 3,500 years ago, a great meteorite hit the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Portugal. The event is mentioned in the Assyrian and Babylonian scripts. I don't remember ever reading about that. Do you? Yeah. 3,400 years ago, a great change took place in Egypt. Well-organized monarchies, the art of writing, monumental architecture were all achieved within a short period of time from little or no background. We face that in the modern era. In fact, I've counted 3 different times that same thing. And it's interesting. We can't get to the, I'll go on that. That's another. 3,114 years ago, Mayan year 0, or the beginning of the current great cycle, according to the Mayan Tolkien calendar, which is supposed to end in 2012 CE. Well, we know the mistake. Apparently, Marsha, by the way, Marsha, Marsha, you sent me some pictures of dragons I was going to show. And it was a dragon, folks. Went to save it. Guess what Google didn't like. So Marsha, resend that because I want to show that. The point is, and there is a point, we're off on our calendar. Probably, we don't know, between the Julian, Gregorian, and who knows who screwed with it in between. It appears that it might be 2021. 3,000 years ago, what is that? The trifionation, cutting a hole in the skull, practiced by people all over the world. That's brain surgery. Some Sumerian statuettes are reptilian, and the Sumerians interacted with the Anunnaki, who were reptilian. I found another great document. This one's going to really wig us all out. The reptilians, they're here. They never left. 2,800 years ago, the third millennium Assyrian clay tablets say the world is speedily coming to an end. Okay. Even back then, they had their doomsayers, 1,800 years ago, the Eleusinian mysteries trace back to this time, the time of Inachus. 1,700 years ago, the Elish, the Babylonian epic of creation. That's where the story of Genesis comes from, by the way. 1,500 years ago, early references to Motherism on cuneiform astronomical test. Cosmos and Damien, two brothers, accomplished successful leg transplants. What? Had they somehow acquired knowledge of techniques of gifted surgeons from the dim past? In Egypt, the pharaoh Thutmose III sees silent, foul-smelling circles of fire and flying disc in the sky. And there's Mr. Thutmose himself, starring nightly. 1,400 years ago, approximate date of the destruction of Thera, on which Atlantis legends were probably based, caused huge destruction to the Cretan civilization. 1,300 years ago, approximate date, the I Ching was written in China, attributed by Wen Wang. 1,000 to 2,000 years ago, legendary Thule civilization in the Golbai region destroyed by a catastrophe, possibly of an atomic nature. Just from these, and the book, all of this was taken from references from the great oracle, the internet. You think about it, the internet is becoming the Akashic record of this era. Think about it. Let's see. So there's another nuclear evidence. 11,000 years ago, huge sacrificial table built at Mystery Hill near North Salem, New Hampshire. It's because the giants were here. The giants occupied North America for thousands, if probably 10,000 years. This is where they hung out. 950 years ago, approximate date of building of Solomon's Temple in Jerusalem. Traditional origin of the Masonic fraternity. Alleged assassination of Temple Master Mason Haram for refusing to reveal Masonic secrets. Now, there are many who contend that if you look at the description, and I believe it is in the Book of Chronicles, the Holy of Holies, folks, that was a power generator. quite remarkable if you've ever read the descriptions and the amount of gold that was in there. No, everything was gold in there. Anyway, I digress. 900 years ago, approximate time, settlers from Europe and Middle East established colonies in North America. 856 years ago, the first known account of poltergeist phenomena. Wow. Excuse me, that was 856 BC. So we're going. So those pesky poltergeists. Again, no one answered my question when I asked you, are ghosts human or what? Why won't people answer that question? Tell me what a spirit is. Is it human or is it something else? And here's another point to my evolving theory that this is the death realm. Isn't it odd that only the living spirits on the other side that we think are dead, they're actually alive, they have the ability to come over here and interact, but very few humans, very few, have ever gone over there and interact and came back here. Anyway, I digress. 800 BCE, Dr. Kelly, a Calgary archaeologist, claims that rock carvings in the Pictograph Provincial Park were etched by European explorers circa 800 BC, rather than the Native Americans. One pictograph, for example, depicts a Viking-like ship almost identical to those carved on a rock near Bohuslän, Sweden. There are also abstract symbols like those used by Northern Europeans in the same time frame. Aerial landing strips are built in the Peruvian Andes. 600 BC, Mothra, born of a virgin in a stable on December 25th, according to the legend. His resurrection was celebrated at Easter. Wait a minute. Are we living Groundhog Day here? So Mithra, I know another guy who was fashioned after that. Boy, I catch hell on this all the time because I keep telling you the cat never was, at least not in the story. But anyway, see, people don't like this stuff because you can go back and check this out. I did a whole series on this. So how is it that you have an exact same story with the exact same setting and an exact same construct that took place nearly 1,000 years before what we're told the story that took? Wait a minute. I got stories that date back even before that. I digress. 600 to 500 BC, time of Buddha. Lao Tse, Confucius, Zoroaster, Josephus, Pythagoras, Zechariah, and Daniel. An illuminated century. I bet. Confucius, there we go. 56 to 483 BC, life of the Gautama Sabhadirath Buddha. I think it said Arith. 390 BC, approximate date Plato's Republic was written, featuring such illuminoid images of the philosopher kings, the divided line, and the parable of the cave. 360 BC, the story of Atlantis, first recorded by Plato in his dialogue, specifically the Timaeus and the Critias. Plato said the story of Atlantis was told by Cylon by the learned priest of Egypt. The story of Atlantis, let's see, we go now to 4227 BC, the life of Greek anarchist Zeno, founder of the Stoic philosophy. 329 BC, Alexander the Great, via his historians, told of two strange objects in the sky that dived repeatedly at his army as they were attempting a river crossing. The action so panicked his elephants, horses, and men, they had to abandon the river crossing until the following day. They were described as great silver shields, spitting fire around the rims. Yeah, I bet that would freak you out. By the way, those elephants they used back in those days, those were the big son of a bitches, Anyway, flying saucers attacking Alexander's great armies? Apparently, we ain't alone. 300 BC, invention of the Mayan calendar in the Yucatan, based on advanced astronomy. Also, Sanskrit. 246, primitive battery created in Iraq, later to be found in 1938 by Dr. Wilhelm Koenig in the basement of a Baghdad museum. 273 to 232 BC, rule of Aska, king of India, who allegedly found the 9 unknown. Look into that one. 170 BC, according to medieval reporter Conrad Wolfhart at Lanupum, a remarkable spectacle of fleet of ships was seen in the air. 900 BC, 99 BC, Rome from Pradea of Julius, is that Abscons? When C. Mirus and L. Valerius were another UFO, a round object like a globe, a rounder cylinder shield took its path in the sky from east to west. To support this, from the natural history book, in a consultative of a burning shield scattering sparks ran across the sky. I don't know if a vehicle is emitting sparks, I don't think that's a very safe vehicle. But then again, I don't know what they were using. I mean, sparks, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was something else. Let's go on. 67 BC, pirates based in, what is that, Silica, a province of the southwestern coast of Asia Minor, were practicing secret rites of Mithras. So here they say 4 BC, the birth of Jesus of Nazareth, according to various illuminoid trappings. Isn't that interesting? 3, early men in black disguised as wise men, strange lights in the sky, miracles such as visit from angels, prophecy, and suspension of time are reported. Year 0, carnation of the Painted Eyebrow Society, copper horses, iron shins, and other secret societies active in China. 30 CE, assassinations of the radical Jesus, allegedly on Illuminati orders, more Illuminoid trappings, an eclipse, an earthquake, visitors from the sky roll away the stone from the sepulchre and liberate the crucified Jesus. 1st century, Flavius Josephus, the noted Jewish historian. And by the way, little note on old Flavius, Josephus is, remember, he said he was an historian. And only because he got really lucky when Vespasian was ready to chop his head off, did he eventually become adapted into the Flavian family, which the Flavians were the ones who basically invented Christianity. But anyway, yeah, Josephus was a traitor, and he lived in a villa on Vespasian's property in Rome, So when I read, and I've read his works, I always take it with a grain of salt, because only history is only written by the victor's point of view. But anyway, he describes giants as having bodies so large and countenances so entirely different from other men that they were surprising to the sight and terrible to the hearing. And he adds that in his day, the bones of giants were still on display. And there's the man himself. A cavern adjacent to the ruins of the Temple of Apollo in Harpylus, built when the ancient Grecian Empire held sway in the area. Several strange disappearances have surrounded the cavern as far back as ancient Grecian times. The Greek philosopher Strabe recorded that many animals who entered the cavern never emerged, and also many people who went past the mouth of the cave never returned. Only sorcerers in ancient times, who had apparently made an alliance with the gods of the underworld, would be able to enter and would be emerge glowing with a reddish aura. Wow. The Key of Solomon, a book of incantations for invoking demons, attributed to the authorship of Solomon, was in existence, influenced the Golden Dawn movement, and was one of the sources of modern ritual magic. Some people believe these were written by King Solomon himself, whereas others believe they were written by demons and given to the king. Solomon has been widely acclaimed as a great wizard in his time, and he was a master in the art of commanding demons. Some experts pretend that the many versions all derive from an original written by the rabbi, I think is that Abanogzar? Choose, and there are many of the books. We'll actually go through this one. The great first century pagan philosopher and physician Apollonius of Tyre was said to have transported himself instantaneously to Ephesus to treat sufferers from a plague. Now, it's interesting that they write that, because in the New Testament, in the book of Acts, we have many stories of humans teleporting themselves great distances. And outside of the religious dogma, we find the very same thing in what you would call a non-religious text. So how are they doing it? 46, the year 46, according to Masonic tradition, Ormus started an order in Alexandria having the rose cross as a symbol. A ship was seen speeding across the Scottish night sky. 64, disastrous fire sweeps through Rome. The Emperor Nero blames the Christians. Persecutions of both Christians and Jews erupts. Tradition has it that Peter was crucified during these Neronic persecutions and buried, eventually under the site of the present altar of St. Peter's Church. Never seen it, never seen the bones, but anyway. Let's see, the year 70, May 21st, from Flavius Josephus's Jewish War. On the 21st of May, a demonic phantom of incredible size, for before the sunset, there appeared in the air over the whole country chariots and armed troops coursing through the clouds and surrounding the cities. So you have a demon who appears. This is in the year 70. Well, that's interesting, because what happened in the year 70? 69 AD, 70. The destruction of what Titus did with Jerusalem. So isn't this interesting? On the 21st of May, a demonic phantom of incredible size. And before the sunset, there appeared in the air over the whole country chariots and armed troops coursing through the clouds and surrounding the cities. Okay. 79 AD, when a comet appeared, astrologers wondered if it would mean the death of Emperor Vespasian. Vespasian, alluding to the term long-haired star used for comets, joked that the comet must have been meant for the Parthian king, who wore his hair long and not for himself. Vespasian, who was bald, despite his clever pun, died that year. Folks, this is really one of the things, and this is not the place because I just want to keep on, but I was a practicing Christian for 5 decades. And no Bible course, no, nothing was ever Vespasian brought up. And that was one of the big clues to me that told me that there was something seriously wrong with this whole thought, because Vespasian, what he did in the Judea area, it's amazing that it's completely left out of the New Testament. The whole time that this Christ was walking around, guess who was there? Vespasian. And guess what Vespasian was doing? He was fighting the wars against the Jews. I mean, the Jews were using what we would call today terrorist tactics. And Vespasian's armies were suffering losses because of these, what he called cowardly attacks. And they had a hard-on for killing all of these radical Hebrews, these Jews that were a real problem. And it's amazing to me that how you have these events in history, yet the vast majority of people, when they think about the Middle East, always refer back to biblical images. But yet that image is an illusion, because this man here was responsible for the death of hundreds of thousands of Jews. Well, we don't read about that, do we? Anyway, the year 80, from an evil reporter, Conrad Wolfhart, when the Roman Emperor Arcola was in Scotland, wondrous flames were seen in the skies over Caldron Wood. All one winter night, everywhere the air burned, and on many nights when the weather was serene, a ship was seen in the air moving fast. 98, from the medieval reporter again, Wolfhart, at sunset, a burning shield passed over the sky at Rome. It came sparkling from the west and passed over the east. The year 100, the hero of Alexandria devises a primitive steam engine. The year 120 to 130. Bielcids, the heretic, the Gnostic of Alexandria, is supposed to have written 24 commentaries on the Gospels, wherein he claimed that Jesus did not die on the cross and that a substitute, Simon of Cyrene, took his place. The Quran held the same argument in the 7th century. Wow. The year 125 to 150, Simon Magus, Meandera, Valentinus, and other developed Gnostic religion doctrines of esoteric knowledge, illumination. Simon was a contemporary of Jesus and had been called his most dangerous rival. Pope Clemente I called him God's left hand and the counterpart of St. Paul. He found wisdom in the brothel of Tyre and preached a Gnostic philosophy summed up in his book, The Root of All. He has later been called the founder of all Gnostic teachings. Wow. All right, everyone here, I can't see in the chat room, but I could just imagine, how many of you really have ever heard this? Well, we're going to look into it more. The year 150, Roman Methodism competes with Christianity. The Yellow Turban Society subdued northern China. The Tyred cult formed in opposition. The year 186, Mount Tutubo in New Zealand erupts. Romans record 3 days of global darkness. 3rd century. The way was long and is if enveloped in darkness, explains Chu Yan, a Chinese poet of the 3rd century BC. Chinese tradition narrates the extraordinary adventures of Hu Yai, an engineer of the Emperor Yo, who decided 4,300 years ago to go to the moon with a celestial bird. In the course of the flight, the bird indicated to the traveler the exact movements of the rising, the apogee, and the setting of the sun. Ho Yai therefore explained that he sailed up to the current of the luminous air. Could this current have been the exhaust of a rocket? He no longer perceived the rotary movement of the sun. The narrator points out, effectively, contemporary astronauts have noted that in space, it was not possible to discern the diurnal passage of the sun. And what did the Chinese engineer observe on the moon? He saw an horizon which appeared frozen. To protect himself from the glacial air, he built the Palace of the Grand Cold. His wife, Cheng Naogo, left to join him on the satellite, which he described as a luminous sphere, brilliant as glass, and of an enormous size and very cold. And us here in the West, we don't know ancient Chinese history. The year 200, the first book of the Kabbalah, the Sefer Yazira, was compiled. Year 216, the life of Mani, the illustrator who founded Manichaeism based on ideas of Judaism, Christianity, Zoroastrianism, and Gnosticism. The year 252 to 712, the Holy Grail, the Last Supper kept in Aragon, Spain, according to Catholic tradition. The year 312, Emperor Constantine and his armies, all behind in the heavens of a luminous cross, all beheld it, He claimed to have been shown a cross on the sun as a sign from Christ that he would triumph over Maximinus. Well, he did. Constantine visits the shrine at Delphi and leaves with a prized collection of bronze statuary. He is one of a long line of Roman plunderers of this sacred site. In spite of this, the oracle continues to reside at Delphi. And today we got Google. Okay, well, you can see, and we're only this. I mean, this is a fabulous book. If you want it, email me. It goes on and on and on, all the way up. And throughout all of this listing, there's a constant theme. Constant UFOs. Always. They're always here. They're throughout all of our history, which tells me that we have never been alone. And again, this is a fun book. It's a great book to have as a resource. It's fascinating from my point of view, because most people don't know this. They don't know history. They don't care to know history. But yet, for those of us who do, we can begin to understand and piece something together here. And this is the point. Throughout all of the centuries of this document, again, it's quite amazing. We find that it was during the Dark Ages that the true belief in the modern religions today were all born. And I can say Western, and these are the Abrahamic belief systems. The Far East, I don't know. They go way back. But anyway, you see how this virus settles in, how key individuals begin to talk and hold daily podcasts. That's the way you can almost look at what they were doing back then. And it was these individuals who had these ideas that this is the way things were and this is the way things should be that fashioned much of our cultural biasness today. And anyway, you should read this because history is not what we have been taught. Here we go. The year 1180. The term equivalent to our flying saucer was actually used by the Japanese approximately 700 years before it came in use in the West. Ancient documents describe an unusual shining object seen in the night as a flying earthenware vessel. The object, which had been heading northeast from the mountain of the Ka province, changed its direction and vanished below the horizon, leaving a luminous trail. And it just goes on and on. It has all the secret societies, how they came about. Now we have in the year 203, the Shroud of Jesus, remember, exhibited in, the church in Constantinople. Yeah, I mean, and the fact is, folks, by this, within 1,000 years, there is no way what actually happened in history could ever be recorded by another human. It is impossible. I see my time is evaporating quickly. My point is, how does someone write a narrative in the first person stance? How do you write of a conversation verbatim for every single word? You can't. It's impossible. But this is what people base reality on. Did it stop working? David, you need to send me another one then. I only used the one you sent me. So anyway, you're a lot smarter than what you were before you came in. Interesting to see how history paints itself and how it fashions our reality, how we perceive what everything is through the lens of what has been programmed. And it's very obvious that it's been programmed, folks. Again, no one in the first century was writing, let's see, the rabbis here. Can we do an interview, please? Seriously? Where can we get the link for this book? I was a little late and missed the intro. Just email me. I'll be more than happy to send it to you. Rob X was timed out by Susie. Well, Rob, you can't be messing with Susie Q. She'll put a hurt on you. Much love to you, Susie Q. All right, folks. We do have a lot more friends than before we came in. Yeah. Quite interesting. As far back as our records go, and of course, they've taken all that out. They're not going to teach that in school. Well, kids, we have known for at least the last million years that there have been these ships in the air. We don't know where the hell they came from, but they seem to be here through every event. Hell, every time that it seemed like there was something big, there they were again. Although Josephus writing about the demon, that's a pretty interesting. So what was that? According to the book of Enoch, the original firstborn Nephilim were 4,500 feet tall. That's nearly a mile high. I don't know how that's possible, but then again, I'm not so sure that this is the same planet that was back a million years ago or however. All right, folks, this has been fun. Much love to you. Thank you. Tomorrow, Miss Trina and I will be on, and we've got a good show. And I really enjoy the time, folks. Thank you for being a part of this journey. I appreciate every one of you, and you make the journey so much more pleasant. And since I contend that this is the death realm, it's friends like you and your energy that we share that makes the passage much, much more exciting. All right. Hey, Martin and Heidi, how you doing? All right. They lied to us, Joyce Marie. Yeah, they did. They did lie to us. Those rotten sons of bitches. What the hell? That's what you feel like telling them. Why? Why? I mean, why did you lie? I mean, what was the purpose of it? I mean, what? What? So you could have some special knowledge that the rest of us don't have? Okay. That never works out well, does it? All right, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you all. Love one another. Love yourselves. And we will come out better on the other side. That is a fact. Okay. No death. Evolve. I like that. We're evolving. That's what it is. All right, folks. Make sure to hit the like button. That's